Hi, I'm Andrew Scrivani. I'm a commercial photographer and a director, and I specialize in food. And I'm here today to teach you 5 top tips for food photography that anyone can do. The most important thing about food photography for me, and especially in my style, has been a one-directional light source. So if we have a single light source, i.e. the sun, which is ideal for food photography, or we decide to use strobe lighting or steady lighting, we want those lights to be in the daylight range. So if we're working here in this room, which we can see we have abundant daylight, and it is soft daylight, I won't need to do much here. The idea with food photography is you don't want to shoot with your light. You want to shoot against your light or having the light cross through your frame. So when you shoot with light, meaning the light source is behind you, your food flattens out. When you shoot against your light, whether it be a backlit shot, where my light would be in this position to camera, or where my light is this position to camera, then I get shimmer and gleam on the food, and I also get the soft play of shadow. So what I've set up here, I just made a basic fruit salad, just some color and shape to give me something to shoot as far as demonstrating a backlit situation. Because fruits, especially fruits that let light penetrate like a raspberry, are really nice backlit, and it creates these kind of hard shadows. Now, if I were in a studio setting, I may also spray this with a little bit of water, or just to give it a little extra glisten. But what I would do in this situation is, since my light source is over here, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna swing around to this side of the table, and I would shoot from this perspective. So I would be right in on the table. So by being at a shallow depth of field here, if I'm falling off the table, it's out of focus. And it kind of gives you that little bit of a dreamy quality to your work. So the idea is one directional light source and shoot against your light. We've already talked a little bit about your one-directional light source, but sometimes that light source is really hard and sharp, and what that does is it creates a very, very dark shadow, and that doesn't look very pretty on food. What I have here is called a flag. It's also known as a scrim or diffuser. What I would do in this situation is my light source is coming from the street side of the room that we're in, but if the light was too hard and the light was direct sunlight, and that's really what we're talking about here is direct sunlight, I would put this flag right here. And what that does is it cuts the light, knocks down the shadows, and creates a softer look. So the soft look for food photography is ideal. The importance of shaping your light is about adding and subtracting in your frame from where you need it. So if one side is a little dark, I would use a little bit of fill, meaning my light source is coming from this direction. I might put this next to my food plate, whatever I'm shooting, in order to kind of create a little bit of bounce back, a little bit of fill on the dark spot. If I really want a dark, shadowy look to my non-light side, I may put up a big dark flag. So this looks a lot like the other flag I showed you, except that one was translucent or opalescent, as we say sometimes. This is just a hard black, kind of like almost like velvet material that absorbs light. So what this does is a light cutter. It's going to cut the light down on a big scale, the whole scale of the table. Now, if my table was much bigger, this flag would have to be much bigger. But then, if I want to just take away a little bit of light, then I have a small card, and I kind of mount them on little things. Now, these are nothing, kind of, you don't need to buy those in a special place. I found a few of them in the t-shirts I bought one time. I buy them at art supply stores and get the kind of thick paper and fold them and shape them any way I want. But the reality is that cutting and shaping light to your particular subject is really important in food photography. Now, if I look at this and I see I have directional lighting because my shadowing is coming in over here, but I want to make it a little more dramatic. So I'm going to take a clamp and a black card. So what this is going to do is it's going to cut the light on my right side of my frame, allow the light to sweep over, and then hit that board and die. So that's going to give me some more shadowing. Now this is my camera, and I've been shooting with this for a very long time. And I know this camera inside and out. But even me, as a professional, and I've been working with cameras for a very long time, if somebody handed me a strange camera, it wouldn't feel normal for me. It would take me a while to get used to it. So it's really important to understand that whatever camera you have, understanding what it does, how it handles the light you're trying to put it in, how it shoots, how it processes after the fact. Doesn't need to be the best camera, doesn't need to be 7,000 megapixels. It just needs to be the camera you know really well and make good pictures in good light. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to set up a shot. And basically, I'm going to create the illusion that we're in a much bigger space. And by using props and the way I use the food, we're going to basically set something up where you can understand that even on a tiny little space like this, your world can become pretty big. So the first thing I'm going to do is I want to create a base surface. So my base surface is this wood. So now already I'm creating something completely different than what you see here with this white table. Now this being my base surface, this could be this big, it could be as big as the table, it could be as big as your dining room table. It just depends on how big you want your world to be. For me, I want to shoot this in a very tight setting, but I wanted to give the illusion that we're somewhere else. We're not in the lobby of a museum, or I'm not shooting on a glossy white table, which is something that I normally wouldn't do. So by putting down this, I have one layer, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this down as a second layer. This right here is my entire world. So by putting something in that world, like these donuts, let's talk about the light. The light is coming in from this side of the room, one directional, sweeping over. I'm going to shoot on top of it. So that means that now I've eliminated all of the ancillary kind of things in this room. I'm also going to frame only on this wooden board. So I'm going to basically focus on one donut, let the other two donuts come into play, and I'm going to set that up in a fairly soft manner. So I'm going to shoot it at maybe 125th of a second at 4.5 aperture, and I'm at 200 ISO, which is terrific numbers for a room like this. In food photography parlance, the hero is the one that you're going to focus mainly on. He's closest to the light, or she, depending on if you want to assign gender to a donut. The idea is my light's coming in from this side and it's sweeping over. So I'm going to get up on the top, and I have my shot. If you keep your world small, you can make something really nice.